Hello there, my name's Suze Shardlow. I'm the Developer Community Manager here at Redis. Thanks for joining me today. Today is day 13 of DEVcember at Redis. And so we are doing a live stream every day, Monday to Friday here at Redis, a little 15 to 20 minute taster of a few different Redis features, concepts, data structures, things like that, just to whet your appetite. If you're new to Redis, or to refresh your memory if you're familiar with it already. So given that we're doing a live stream every day, Monday to Friday, this is day 13. However, we already have 13 videos in the bag because one day this week, we actually did a bonus video. So I'll let you look through the video library on YouTube and figure out which day that was. So far at DEVcember, we've covered, like I said, a few different data structures. So we've done lists, sorted sets. We've done Hyperloglog, we've done Bloom filters, we've done top K, a lot of different things. If you go to developer.redis.com/DEVcember, then you'll find a list of all the recordings so far. And also, you'll be able to find out on a day-by-day basis what the topic for the next day is. So I will reveal that at the end of this session. So, if you've watched some of our recordings so far, then you'll see that we've also got a new product, and that is something that we are going to be talking about shortly. But I've only talked about Monday to Friday so far. So what happens on Saturdays and Sundays? Well, we don't work Saturdays and Sundays here on the live stream team for DEVcember. So on Saturdays and Sundays, we're setting a little fun challenge for you. It's not competitive at all. It's just to test what you want to do with Redis. So we've had 2 of those so far because we've had 2 weekends in December so far. And this weekend, we will set you a new challenge. So if you go to developer.redis.com/DEVcember, then you'll see the Saturday and Sunday challenge up there. So on to today's content then. Today, I'm welcoming back my good friend and colleague, Steve Lorello, who was with us the other day talking about top K. And Steve's dog also helped with that demonstration. So please do go back and watch that video if you haven't already. Wonderful coding dog. And today, Steve is back to talk to you, all of you .NET fans, about the new client library, the new Redis client library for .NET. So let's bring Steve into the mix.
Hi. Hey, how are you?
Oh, good. Thanks, Steve. How are you today?
I'm good. And I'm also still joined here today by the dog.
Your coding dog is with you today. Code editor at the ready. Good.
She's always ready to go.
She's not as lively as the other day, but I'm sure that will change given the correct variables.
Yeah. Let's see if we get a delivery or something.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, I'll leave you to it. Let's see how long that sleeping dog lies and see if you can get through your whole talk today uninterrupted. Good luck.
All right. Well, I'm going to talk today about a new client library that we have put out for the .NET community called Redis OM. So what Redis OM essentially is object mapping and more for Redis. And it's available in 4 languages right now, .NET, Node, Java and Spring, and Python. I'm just going to get going with just a little demo of some of its capabilities. And I'll start out by starting Redis, I guess. I think that's probably a good place to start. So I'm going to do a docker run-p 6379:6379, and I'm going to do a Redis labs/Redis mod. And what that's going to enable, it's going to enable a bunch of modules that go along with Redis. And the 2 that Redis OM really takes full advantage of is Redis JSON and Redis Search. So I'm going to start out by creating a new .NET console app. So I'm going to do .NET new console-n test Redis OM. And if I cd into test Redis OM and do a .NET, I'll clear this so it's a little clearer. I'll do a .NET add package Redis .OM. And that's going to install the Redis OM package for me. So I'll clear that. And I'm going to open this package, this project file in Rider. just as, I guess I'm going to have to do it in something else. I guess I'll run it in Visual Studio. Open with Visual Studio 2022. There we go. I usually use Rider, but I guess we're not using Rider today because I had my early access Rider instance is invalid right now. That's fine. So I'll just start out by first copying. I have a file, a JSON file with a bunch of test objects that I added. So these employee objects here just sort of represent different people from around the world, like John Smith and Susan Baxter and Getty Anwar. And they're from different regions, and they're basically a distributed sales team. And there's also a couple of engineers too, just to even things out. And we have different fields in here, like what their location is. This is a geolog set of geo coordinates. What their department name is, their first and last name, their age, what their sales were, and I have this sales adjustment factor in here, which is basically an adjustment for perhaps your region or seniority or stuff like that. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and first pull all these employees into here. So the first thing I actually need to do is read this text in. So I'll do a var employee JSON equals file dot read all text async, and I will read employees.json. I need to make sure that this gets sent to, this gets copied out to the output directory. So copy always. Let me zoom in a little bit so everyone can see that. And then I need to actually convert this JSON. So I'm getting ahead of myself. So yeah, let me just write this out, and I'm going to do a .NET run here, and that's going to print out the task because I didn't await this. There we go. That's just going to print out all of that, which is fine. But I want to actually get a list of employees. So the first thing I need to do is remediate this location. So location is a geolog, and that's an object. So I need to actually define a model that I'm going to store all this stuff in. So the class I'm going to store all this in is called employee, and I'm going to add, I'll make it public. And I'm going to add a prop string first name, prop string last name, prop string department name, prop int age, prop double sales, and a prop double sales adjustment. And finally, a prop geoloc location. And so this geoloc here is actually a Redis OM thing. So to store things in Redis, I need to add a document attribute onto this, onto the actual class. So I need to decorate the employee class with a document attribute. And then to be able to search for anything by its value, I need to add an indexed or searchable attribute onto each of the different fields. So I'm going to index first name, and index last name. I'm going to index everything, but I'm going to just declare department name as searchable so I can perform full text search in it. So searchable, indexed, indexed, indexed. And then the other thing I want to do is a little bit later, I'm going to run a bunch of aggregations on these. So I'm going to use all these in different aggregations. So I'm going to set up aggregatable for all these to true. I'm just going to copy this and just go down here, go down the line and set everything to aggregatable. All right. So with that all done, I can actually now marshal these employee objects into objects in the CLR. So to do that, I need to create a list of employees from JSON equals JSON serializer dot deserialize, and yeah, that works for me. So this employee object, and I'm just going to pull all that in. All right. Now the problem is if I try to run this as is, I'm going to get an error because of the way that these locations are structured. So I'm going to try to do a .NET run, and it's going to throw this weird serialization error because this location is of a weird format. So to overcome that, I'm going to create a new set of JSON serializations options. So var options equals new JSON serialization options, JSON serializer options, and I'm going to add the options to its converters. I'm going to add a new JSON or geolog. Okay, I need to actually look up what this is. Using Redis.om.modeling. I think it's geoloc JSON converter. So new geoloc JSON converter. So with that done, I can now pass this in and actually deserialize all of these. So now if I try to run this again, it's not going to have that error again. It's just printing that stuff out. So now we're actually ready to do stuff in Redis. So to do stuff in Redis with Redis OM, you need to create a Redis connection provider. And I can do that by passing in a connection string, which is going to be a Redis URI. So Redis localhost 6379. And the first thing I'm actually going to do is the last thing I'm going to do in every one. And that's just because this is just a test app. I'm going to run provider.connection.execute async. And I'm going to just flush the VB out every time. So don't actually do that in production. I'm just doing that for demonstration purposes. And with provider created now, the first thing I actually want to do is take this employee model, right here, and I want to create an index for it. So I'm going to do provider.connection.create index, and I'm going to pass in the type of employee. And with that done, I've actually now created an index, and I can actually query things in here now. So with that, I'm going to get two more objects out of the provider. So employees equals provider dot Redis collection employee, and I'm going to get an aggregations object out of here. So employee aggregations equals provider dot Redis or aggregation set employee. So with these two now, I can actually start adding things into Redis and then querying things from Redis. So let's go ahead and start adding. Let's start out by adding all of these employees to Redis. So the first thing I'll do is do a for each var for employee in employees from JSON, and I'm going to do a employees dot insert async, and I'll wait this time because I know how to use async, I guess. And I'm going to insert employee. So that's actually now been inserted into Redis. So this is going to create an ID for me, and that's going to respond with that ID. So if I want to find that employee again, all I need to do is take this ID here and do a var also employee equals await employees dot find by ID async and pass in the ID. And then I could do something like console.writeLine employee, or let's do also employee.first name, also employee.last name. So if I run that now, you'll see that it printed out all of the employees that I had inserted into Redis. Cool. So what do we do? What's the next thing we want to do? So we'll just say this is console. I'm just going to add some demarcation points in here. So console.writeLine inserting employees. I guess the first thing to look at is how to iterate over all the employees. So console dot write line all employees. Then I'm just going to do another for each in here, var employee. And instead of going over employees from JSON, I'm just going to go over that employees Redis collection here. And I can just do something like console.writeLine, and I'm going to do employee.firstname, employee.lastname is employee.age, years old, and works in the employee.department name, department. If I go back in here, I will clear this out and do a .NET run again, and it's going to print out all that information about all my employees, and it's pulling all this out of Redis. But so what if I want to look for different attributes in here? So what if I want to find all the employees named John, for example? So let me just copy this whole thing, and I'm just going to say employees named John. I'll do an employees now dot where, and I'm just going to try to match this pattern. So x dot first name equals John. And if I run that now, it's going to print out just John Smith, who is the first person here. What if I want to find employees that are younger than or around 35? Now John is 35, so that would be John, Alice, Susan, Getty, and that's it. So to do that, all I would need to do is take the age and just do a less than or equal to 35. And that, well, I need to actually adjust this. So that would then print out all of those employees. All right, so like querying things by different values now is really easy in Redis. And if you're familiar with how querying and indexing objects in Redis was prior to sort of Redis search and now Redis OM, it was a little bit taxing because you had to maintain a bunch of different sets and basically query them before you could even look at things. And now it's as easy as issuing a single query. All right, so that's not the only thing you can do with this. So say I wanted to find all the employees that are in the sales department. I can do the same thing. Employees in sales. I just do x dot department name equals sales. And because department name was indexed as a searchable, it'll do a full text search on the department name. And it'll just print out the people that are in the sales department. It will not print out the two people that we have in the engineering department. So, and then if we want, and same thing with like, we want to match against a region. So we want to match against North America. We then were able to print out the three folks that are in North America. So that's all like the searching and querying stuff that goes along with this. So now let's move on to something that I also really find really interesting, and actually something I really like about Redis OM, and that's aggregations. So say I wanted to take all this information that I have about employees, like their sales and their sales adjustment, and I want to like rank the departments by their sales. I can do that. So like I can do say departments ranked by sales. I can do that by saying by taking that employee aggregations object and just doing what's called an apply function. So that allows me to apply different functions to this, and I could take the employees, all the employees, and say x dot record shell dot sales times x dot record shell dot sales adjustment. And the reason we're using this record shell and not the actual record like embedded directly in this is because aggregations only produce the things in the pipeline. They only return the things in the pipeline. So this shell here is just supposed to represent the model that you're using, and it allows you to just use that model and use the attributes on that model without actually going through everything else. But it also doesn't actually produce anything in this record shell when this thing is initialized. And we'll see what that means in a little bit. So I'm going to apply this function, and I'm going to give it an alias. So adjusted sales. And then with adjusted sales, so I want to basically group all my departments together and find the adjusted sales for all those departments. Well, probably it wouldn't make sense to include the people in the engineering department. So I'm going to do a x dot record shelves dot sales not equal 0, because the folks in engineering don't have any actual sales. So we're just going to filter them out, and then we will do. Now we're actually going to group all the different employees together by their department. So I could do a group by, and I could pass in x dot record shell dot department name as what I'm grouping by, and then what I can do is I can actually sum all the sales together. So I can group all the departments together, and then I can sum all the members of that department, all their sales. And I think that sort of concludes my pipeline. Oh, I want to probably order by descending. And then I can just do, this is going to say adjusted sales underscore sum. And so this whole pipeline now allows me to basically rank all the departments by sales. And then I can just go for each var department and department by sale. And I can do a console.writeLine, and I can pass in department sub name sold department sub adjusted sales sum. If I ran that, I would get an error because adjusted sales sum is not loaded nor in the schema, which is interesting. Hold on. Probably because I misspelled something. Because I use sales and not adjusted sales here. There we go. That's why. There you go. So it actually took all the different employees in there, and it groups all of the adjusted sales, and it then ranked them all by how much they sold in that given year. So yeah, that's one really neat thing you can do. And I guess the last thing I'll do is I'll do like a let's just do like a sales call. All right. So say we have. I'm just going to go and drop a pin somewhere on the map. Let's go in northern or Switzerland. There we go. I guess that's where we're going to drop it. So say I take this location right here. So var lock equals new geolock, and because of some weirdness in Redis, we have to reverse that. Say I want to find the closest sales representative here. I could say var closest sales folks equals employee aggregations dot apply and I could take apply functions dot geodistance, and I can do x dot record shell. That's Salesforce run. Dot location and lock. Oh, all right. And then distance to customer, and then I can just do order by not descending because I want the closest, and I could say x sub and then I can say dot apply x string dot format and I can pass into this format function x dot record shell dot first name and x sub distance to customer. That might not actually work. I could just print all this out. And then I could just go through. Oh, that's where it came. That's where it came from. Close to sales folks. Or and close to sales folks. And I could just do a console dot write line, and I can do a x sub business to customer. There we go. And that will print out the distance that all of the sales folks are to the customer. So the closest one is 551,055 meters away from that customer. All right, so yeah, that's sort of all I had for this talk. Yeah, that's redisone.net.
Thanks so much, Steve. I love how you like, oh, well, that's it. But it's such a big thing, and you spent a lot of weeks creating that. So I'm sure the .NET fans out there, the .NET/Redis fans out there, hugely appreciate this. And we do have Jose again in the audience, and I'm really pleased to see this because I believe Jose was here to witness your previous. Previous demo earlier this week, and Jose wants to know if you could give them some advice to convince their team to use Redis OM instead of just Link. How do you say it? Link?
Yeah, Link. That's it.
Okay. They think it's similar to use Entity Framework Core in Cosmos DB. What would you think?
That is sort of the precise idea. So the thing with Redis in general is that if you want to index things in Redis, you need to maintain a bunch of different data structures to go along with the document data that you're storing. So like if you just have like a regular plain old Redis instance, you would have to basically build a bunch of data structures that go along with it. And then you would need to maintain those data structures as you update or remove things from your database. The beauty of the modules that we just looked at. So Redis Search and Redis JSON are the two. So you can learn more about Redis JSON by going to redisjson.io, and you can learn more about Redis Search by going to redissearch.io. These two modules enable you to do all this really neat stuff where you don't have to maintain those indexes anymore. And what Redis OM does is it gives you like a more native way to talk to Redis Search and Redis JSON, because you can model your objects down. You can add your objects to your database. You can define directly the indexes of your objects, and you can then query those the things in your database by those different fields that you've now indexed. So yes, I would say the parallel to this is Entity Framework Core with Cosmos DB. Certainly, Entity Framework Core has been around Core has been around only for 5 years, but Entity Framework's been around forever. This is still a relatively new thing, but yes, that is the that is the parallel kind of thing that's more native to the .NET Core ecosystem.
Cool. So you would recommend that's a good way to convince their team to use Redisone instead of just Link?
Yeah, that is a fair summary of the objective here.
Brilliant. Cool. Thanks for that. And Jose's got a further question here. I'll put that up. Jose wants to know what the difference is between index and searchable that you use employee class annotations.
That is an excellent question, Jose. So in Redis search, which is this, oh, you know what? I've been talking about my screen. I wasn't sharing my screen with anybody. So sorry about that. So if the resources that I was referring to are oss.redis.com /Redis search and /Redis JSON. That's these two modules that sort of empower and drive all of this. So what Redis search does is it has these different types of indexes. All right. And there's no index types called searchable or called indexed. But the idea in Redis OM is that indexed is more like precise matches. So with string fields, that precise match is going to tie to what's called a tag field. So you can actually read all about the different types of fields. If you just go into here, I think the command reference ft.create sort of has all the different field types in it. But so indexed is like, oh, I want to do an exact match between the text in this field and the text that I'm looking for. What searchable means is that I want to do a full text search on this string field. So if you have a bunch of text that you have like added to a field and maybe an exact match isn't exactly what you're looking for, that's what searchable is for.
Cool. Thank you, Steve. And Jose's got a third question. Jose's on fire today. I love it. I love to see this. So Jose wants to know, does Redis use B plus tree as the data structure for indexes? Most of databases use B plus tree, but Cassandra uses log structured merged trees. What do you reckon?
So I don't know about the internal structures of Redis search, but what I will tell you is that B trees are a specialized data structure specifically for databases on disk. And the reason that B trees are used on disk is because it minimizes the number of disk reads that your database needs to do. Redis is not a disk-based database. It is a memory-based database. So I can't say definitively that we don't use B trees, but most likely I don't think we use B trees. I think we probably use the more native Redis data structures for structuring our indexes.
Cool. Thanks so much. And if anyone's got any other quick questions before we finish, please do plug them into the comments. And Steve, you are going to be back on Monday, aren't you? On live streams.
Okay. We're doing another. I'm actually going to be presenting much the same material on Monday because it's we're talking exclusively about Redis OM at Redis Live.
Yeah, so as we said, Redis OM has client libraries for 4 different languages. So we've seen .NET today with Steve. We saw JavaScript yesterday with Guy. Simon, I'm really getting mixed up with the words today. Simon covered Python, I think it was last week. And then we have one remaining one, Java, which our good friend and colleague Brian is going to present here on DEVcember between now and the 24th, but also on Monday with all of the good aforementioned folks. And my colleague Justin, who you've seen on live streams here at DEVcember, is going to be hosting that event. I believe it's at 2:00 Eastern, isn't it, Steve?
What'd you say, Suze?
I believe it's at 2:00 Eastern time on Monday.
That sounds right.
Yeah. I think it is 7:00 UTC, so 7 p.m. UTC on Monday, the 20th of December.
It's 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
And Jose wants to see the dog again, so I will show you Honey. Honey's becoming the team mascot. She is a red greyhound, so she's both red and she's very fast. So just like Redis.
I thought you were going to say, yeah, just like Redis. That's a great mascot. I think you were going to say she's red and grey because she's a red greyhound. But Yeah, cool.
That was great.
Good. I think she did help us today, but silently.
She was here for me in spirit.
Yes. So let's put the link up to Discord again, because we had some really great questions here today. And if you want to come over to Discord and have a chat with us about anything to do with Redis, anything to do with databases and all of that good stuff, please come over and join our Discord. You're all very welcome to come there and chat with us. We are generally there Monday to Friday because that's when we work. So just be aware of that. So we'll be on there for another few hours yet today. But yeah, thanks again, Steve. Hope to see you again on the streams, and I'll be sure to catch you on Monday at Redis Monthly Live at 7 p.m. UTC.
Cool.
Thank you. So that was Steve again for the second time this week. Brilliant. With Redis OM for .NET. Like I said, we have already covered Redis OM for Python, Redis OM for JavaScript, and we've got Java coming up before the 24th of December. So please do keep your eyes peeled for that. Now, today is the last stream for us for this week, because we're only doing Monday to Friday on the live streams. And so you've got a little challenge, a little gentle challenge for you in the old GitHubs. So if you go to developer.redis.com/DEVcember, then you will be able to click through to that. Please feel free to check that out. And if you want to try the first two, you are very welcome to do so. We have not set a deadline on these, so anytime you want to do that, you can. So for Monday then, we have got Simon back. Simon leads on the developer advocacy. He's our developer advocacy manager here at Redis. He is going to be talking about Redis streams. So he's going to be giving you a nice little 15 to 20 minute taster on Redis streams. I'll just give you a little heads up on this. If after watching that taster, you are so excited by Redis streams, you want to learn more, then we have got a full course for you on that at Redis University. And you can find all our courses at university.redis.com. So if you go there and you really want to learn more about Redis streams, then you can. All the courses are free. We currently have 8 of them. So they run for, you've got a maximum of 6 weeks to do them. But if you want to and you're really fast, you can just do them all in like 3 days. It's fine. But you've got a maximum of 6 weeks, and they run all through the year. So do go and sign up whenever you're ready to do that. I would highly recommend, if you're a beginner at Redis, start with RU 101, Introduction to Redis Data Structures. I'm very new to the company and I'm very new to Redis, and I took that in October with my colleague Justin, and we streamed that out so you can watch the recordings on YouTube. But I'd recommend that as a great place to start. But, you know, if you want to learn more about streams after you watch Monday's live stream, then please do check out the course on university.redis.com. Right, so it is our weekend here at Redis in the live stream team. So we're going to take the next 2 days off. If you've got the next 2 days off as well, I hope you enjoy them. But regardless of that, stay safe, and we will see you again on Monday. Thanks for joining us. Bye.